this episode of Lash Intensive, we're going to go through lash retention, premature extension loss. One of the culprits could be crying. When we cry, we secrete, obviously, tears. Now, some of the tears, especially emotional crying from hurt, those secrete a different type of tear. Those have enzymes in them. People are going through some pretty heavy things, and so naturally they are going to be crying. My recommendation is rinse your lashes when you are done crying. The way I discovered this that got me thinking about tears and lashes is back in 2014, I had a client that had just come in for a fill on a Friday. She was nice and full. She always has good retention, never any issues. Monday, she needed to come in for new lashes, and I couldn't understand why. I thought, oh my God, did I do something wrong? When she comes into the office, she's laying there and I'm looking at her lashes. And it was really strange. It was something that I'd only seen once before, and that was a couple months prior. It almost looked like pop rocks. It was kind of crystally. The adhesive was kind of dry, brittle, kind of broken down. I'd never seen anything like it. Well, what turned out is she had a domestic violence situation that happened the day before. She'd done a lot of crying and she was very terrified. The adhesive was partially broken down. I saw that with one other person. She was a new client. She'd come in for a full set. She told me she was going through a divorce. And I knew if you're going through a divorce, you're crying. I asked her how she was feeling. She was crying. And she said, oh, no, not at all. She was glad to be divorced. I could tell there was something more underlying. And when she came back 2 weeks later for a fill, her adhesive looked partially broken down. I'd already been doing lashes for about 14 months at that point and never had seen that before. I thought, I don't have an answer. I began to question my skills as a technician because by this point, I'm no longer working with my mentor. My mentor was in Seattle. I'm down here in Arizona on my own. I remember thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't be working on my own. Maybe I'm not qualified to be a lash extensionist. I was really starting to doubt my skills and my abilities. And I remember sitting there kind of shaking, thinking I was going to get in some kind of trouble. So when this other client going through something very emotional, I began to make the connection. There's got to be something with the emotional tears. In 2019, writing Lash Intensive, I'd finished researching about the cyanoacrylate. Then I started researching about eyes and tears, and I discovered there are different enzymes in tears. And I thought, that's it. Emotional tears, those enzymes can break down the adhesive. So I always tell clients, whenever you're done crying, rinse your lashes. And that definitely has helped many people with their retention. I had one client just recently, a fairly new client. She's been coming to me for about 6 months, but she's going through some emotional things. And I noticed her adhesive is kind of dry and her extensions are kind of all stuck together. It's because she's been crying a lot. Now she's rinsing her lashes. For me, that just really proves the science. This client didn't know to rinse her lashes when she's done crying. She's a very strong woman. She's a ball buster. I don't think she ever really cries. So for her to be crying was kind of shocking. I never thought to tell her, hey, if you're ever crying, rinse your lashes. That was like the furthest thing from my mind. But she did tell me that she had been crying quite a bit. That just reinforces everything that I learned with those two clients in 2014. What I read in my research of the adhesive and tears, it backs it all up. As soon as you're done crying, just rinse your lashes with room temperature water or take your shower. Get those tears off of your lashes so that they don't start breaking them down. And then what happens is when the tears are on there, they start to break down the adhesive. And then the adhesive gets dry and brittle, and then everything kind of sticks together. That won't happen if you just rinse your lashes and get the tears off, that mucus. I guess it would kind of be like a mucus almost. Get that off, and then you will be fine. You won't have any retention issues. I hope this lashication was beneficial. Comment below if you have questions that you would like me to answer in future episodes. If you would like more lashication videos, click the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.
Nothing can slow me down.
And tap the notification bell.
Nothing can slow me down.